Good day, everyone. I'm Mr. Marko and I'm your English teacher for today. Today, we are going to learn about a very useful grammar lesson. You will learn with me today about embedded questions. So, what are embedded questions? Sometimes we want to use a question as part of another question or statement. For instance, if we want to ask someone the directions to a certain place, let's say the nearest bank, we usually say, "Where is the nearest bank?" However, there are times where the situation calls for politeness and formality. So instead of just saying, "Where is the nearest bank?" we can say, "May I know where the nearest bank is?" Or, "Could you tell me where the nearest bank is?" Where the nearest bank is what we call embedded question. It is a question that is part of another question or a statement. And that is exactly what we are going to learn today. In forming questions or statements with embedded questions in them, there are several introductory phrases that we can use, such as, "Could you please tell me?" "Do you know?" "May I know?" "Can you remember?" "I wonder." "Please let me know." "Kindly tell me." "I'm not sure," to name a few. Now, in forming embedded questions, there are some rules that we have to follow. And that is exactly what we're going to learn today. Are you ready? That's great. Let's begin. Rule number 1. Use the normal sentence word order. That is, subject plus verb, and not the opposite. And if there is a question word, such as what, where, when, which, why, or how, keep that question word. For example, the normal question is, "Where is the science laboratory?" Where is the science laboratory? Now, if we want to make a question with an embedded question in it, we can say, "Do you know where the science laboratory is?" Once again, "Do you know where the science laboratory is?" If you notice, the linking verb is placed at the end of the question. So, we follow the pattern, introductory phrase, plus question word, plus subject, plus the linking verb. So, we should not say, "Do you know where is the science laboratory?" That is wrong. That is a common mistake that many people commit. Instead, we should say, "Do you know where the science laboratory is?" "Do you know where the science laboratory is?" Now, that is a correct sentence. Now, I want you to try this. Here's the normal question. What time is the flag ceremony? What time is the flag ceremony? Now, I want you to convert this question into a question with an embedded question. Use the introductory phrase, "Could you tell me?" Now, can you tell me your answer? That is right. The correct answer is, "Could you tell me what time the flag ceremony is?" Could you tell me what time the flag ceremony is? That's great. Rule number 2. If the normal question uses the auxiliary verb do, does, or did, use the normal sentence grammar. Therefore, don't use do, does, or did in your embedded question. For example, Here is a normal question. How does he go to work? How does he go to work? Now, if we make a sentence with an embedded question in it, we can say, I wonder how he goes to work. I wonder how he goes to work. Since we use the auxiliary verb does, our main verb becomes goes. So, instead of saying, I wonder how does he go to work, we should say, I wonder how he goes to work. I wonder how he goes to work. Can you try this? Here's a normal question. What time did you arrive at work? What time did you arrive at work? Now convert this normal question into a question that has an embedded question in it. Use the introductory phrase, can you tell me? Now please tell me your answer. Excellent! The correct answer is, can you tell me what time you arrived at work? Can you tell me what time you arrived at work? Since we use the auxiliary verb did in our normal question, our main verb becomes arrived. Arrived in our embedded question. That's why we say, can you tell me what time you arrived at work? Can you tell me what time you arrived at work? Good job! Rule number 3. If the question requires a yes or no answer, use if or whether after the introductory phrase. For example, the normal question is your school far from here? Is your school far from here? Now, if we want to make a question with an embedded question in it, we can say, may I know if your school is far from here? May I know if your school is far from here? If you notice, we use the sentence pattern introductory phrase plus if or whether plus subject plus linking verb plus predicate adjective. May I know if your school is far from here? Here's another example. Here's the normal question. Did the students submit their project? Did the students submit their project? Now, if you want to make a question or a statement that has an embedded question in it, we can say, I wonder whether the students submitted their project. I wonder whether the students submitted their project. Since our question uses the auxiliary verb did plus the main verb submit, our main verb then becomes submitted. So we say, I wonder whether the students submitted their project. Now your turn. Can you try this? Here is the normal question. Are the students ready for the activity? Are the students ready for the activity? Now, I want you to convert that question into an embedded question. Use the introductory phrase, I want to know. Now, tell me your answer. Wow, you got it right. The correct answer is, I want to know whether or if the students are ready for the activity. I want to know whether or if the students are ready for the activity. Excellent. Now, before we proceed to our activity, do you have any questions related to our grammar lesson today? None? Alright, if that is so, I'm going to give you your task now. Here are the mechanics.